Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of I Am That Bitch podcast. I've got a new friend here all the way from New York State. Woohoo! Sandy Colling. Am I saying your last name right?
You are.
All right.
Absolutely.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
We were just bitching, and I'm like, save this shit for the podcast, girl. Wait,
Right.
because it's so good. That's why I say to everybody, I think I'm going to just start recording as soon as you come on, because sometimes we get the good shit before I even start the podcast, like officially.
Yeah.
But okay, so tell us about yourself and what you do.
So that's a good question. Sometimes I ask myself that from day to day. But
Every
so
day, girl, every day.
I currently live in the Hudson Valley in New York. However, I'm originally from Germany, born in France, raised in Germany. And
So
we
worldly.
we were just talking about that, right?
Yeah.
It's like Germans are very direct and I just don't do bullshit. So
Amen. For
I
sure.
I'm in a very wealthy area between like the Hudson Valley. There's a lot of actors that live here and a lot of prominent people. And, I'm still who I am, like, right? It's like, I don't like just because there's money and there's fame, who gives a flying fuck, right? I just don't care. So, and that's
I
the
love that.
directness of the German. That's the whatever. So, what do I do? I'm an equestrian. My real profession is a translator interpreter.
Okay.
But my absolute passion in life is travel. And travel to me broadens the mind more than anything in the world. And what I've come now, this is strictly what I have found for America. I don't know about Canada, but for Germany, I'd say 90% this would not work. But a lot of Americans have this that I've come across a fear of travel, the overwhelm, the anxiety, the do I speak the language? What if I get lost?
Really?
Yes. So I talk a lot about the mindset around that. And that's
Okay.
really what my main focus is right now, just helping people just explore the world, right? The world has so much to give. And
And
we
is it
were
always based around equestrian, like always
No,
horses?
no,
Okay.
no. So I started with equestrian journeys and took equestrian trips. Now, not horseback riding, but the a history and culture of horses. Because in Europe, that's where, especially Germany, that's where a lot of, especially if you're in dressage, which I am, comes from. And that's where I started. But then I pivoted to travel in general. So
Mm.
I'm leading a group of ladies to Ireland in June,
Oh, I've
and
always wanted to go to Ireland.
it's join us. I have 2 slots left.
I can't, girl. It's summertime. So listen, I'm European. I'm Greek Macedonian, and I refuse to go to Europe in June, July, August, even September. I love Europe. Well, September is okay. October is my favorite month to be in Europe. It's and all my businesses this is where the summertime we primarily make our money.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
don't take summer
Okay, so
vacations, but as soon as that market's over at Thanksgiving, our Thanksgiving's in October,
right.
we're gone. We're out of here. So yeah, I
So yeah,
wish.
we're going to June in Ireland, and my trips are very off the beaten track. They're not your just, and then there's one in September to Paris, not to Paris, to the Chevreuse Valley, to Paris and the Chevreuse Valley, which is a countryside outside of Paris.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's going to be a very beautiful trip. And then next year I have 2 trips planned, one to India and one to Namibia. That's kind of,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. My
So
niece just came back from India and I'm
uh,
like, I don't, so my best friend for a long time, for about 20 years, was Indian. Unfortunately we had a falling out, but she's like, Val, there's no fucking way you'll be able to handle India. Like, I'm too much of a princess. So,
oh,
um,
funny.
my niece now is seeing an Indian great guy, really treats her so nice. He's so awesome. But they just went for a month.
Mhm.
And I'm like, if you marry this guy, he's like, you're gonna have to have an Indian wedding in India. I'm not coming. She's like, it's okay. We'll do one in Canada. It'll be fine. It'll
We'll
be
do
fine.
2. One for Aunt Val and then one for
Yeah. And my husband's like, wait a minute. I fucking want to go to India. I want to check it out. I want to go to Taj Mahal and all that. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, Oh, okay, I'll try. Like, I'll try, but yeah. But this is my friend who's from, her mom's from Mumbai and her dad was from Goa. She's like, Val, there's no fucking way.
Oh, that's funny.
Too
Well,
much of a
not
fucking
every
princess.
place is for every, it's like, but
Just like
anyway, so
I would never want to go to Australia,
that I
New
have no
Zealand.
desire to go to Australia either for
And
some
no offense
reason.
to my Australian friends,
No,
it's the actual travel time that
mm,
is that I don't want to do. I hate being on a plane that long. That's the only problem. Maybe if I did it in increments, you're the travel
right,
agent, right? Like if
right,
I did it in
right,
increments and we stopped
right.
for like a week and then got on a plane and traveled again.
Well,
Maybe.
I have actually a really good friend that I met online through a gig. We were both working together, and she's in Australia, in Perth, and we talk all the time. And her mom actually lives in the UK. So she's going to be in September in the UK, and she's going to come to France, but we're going to meet in Germany, and then we're going to go to France together. So, because I have no desire, just have no desire to go to Australia.
Yeah.
I mean, if I've been everywhere else in the world, maybe, but
Yeah.
it's just not, and not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just not
No.
something that interests me right now.
Yeah, a friend of mine loved New Zealand, like fell in love with it, like almost wanted
Hmm.
to move there. That's how much she loved it, but she also loved Japan.
Yeah.
And how polite people were and the
Hmm.
cleanliness and stuff. And yeah, because North America is really, I don't know. Anyway, we won't go down that path.
No.
The world just gone to shit. Anyway,
Yep. Oh,
so okay,
funny.
we're going to talk about some shitty instances in all aspects, like shitty friends, shitty vacations. What's the shittiest vacation you've ever been on?
Oh, shittiest vacation I've ever been on. I'd have to think about that for a second because, well, okay. The shittiest vacation I've ever been on wasn't because of the place, but because of the people that were there. And that was in
Okay.
Austria.
Oh,
In
love
Austria.
Vienna, Austria. But
Yeah.
anyway, go on. Yeah.
So it was in Tirol. So not in Vienna, but closer to Innsbruck, if that says something. So Tirol in Meierhofen, and it's beautiful. It's mountains. I mean, I'm not a mountain gal, so I mean it's beautiful and whatnot, but it's beautiful,
Yeah.
whatever. It's nice. And I'd been there multiple times, but the group of people that were there was just cutthroat. Everybody wanted to outdo everybody. I'm
On
not
what? On
on
what?
it.
Like,
So give you an example. I am a city, like yes, I live in the Hudson Valley in the middle of fucking nowhere, but I'm really a city girl. Plop me in the middle of New York, plop me in the middle of Rome, plop me in I'm happiest.
yeah,
So we were out there. I'm not a hiker. Like it's just not my thing.
not me
So
either.
we were hiking and I went on a couple hikes and I was bashed at how unfit I was. And, why did I even come? And, but it was in such a manipulative, subtle way. It's like, would you rather stay here? And how come you're so unfit? You go to the gym. Oh, yeah.
Are these Germans?
No.
Oh,
Well, yes. One German, one Austrian, mostly
Austrian.
American.
Oh, okay, okay.
And so I used to be, and I still take the products, but I was in the business of a network marketing company. And it's just this, ugh, it's, it, mm, just the
Why did you
people.
go in the first place? You
You know
fucking
what?
hate
Let's not even
hiking.
go there. Well, because I didn't think we'd be fucking hiking every single day. Now, I didn't go every day
No.
because I would go do my own thing because honestly, solo travel is my favorite. I like just being on my own, do my own thing. I don't need a
Okay, now
whole
let's talk about that for a second because I don't think I could do that. Like I just went down to Florida in January for a convention, and I'm like, who could I go with? Like I'll go by myself. I've never done it before. I've traveled on planes before by myself, but at the other end, there's people that I know. But I even call my friend who lives in Nova Scotia, who used to live in Ontario, but during COVID moved. And I'm like, hey, Karen, and she's a travel agent too, and she loves to travel. She actually travels for free for companies. I'm like, girl, you want to meet me in Florida? Like, she's like, okay, sure. I bought her ticket. She had a discount code, so it cost like $100 to fly her down to Florida, and that, like, I even paid for her ticket, so I wasn't alone.
right,
So
right.
I have that. I guess I have that fear. Like I like being with my husband or friends. I I don't know how you do it. Like
I love being on my own.
Yeah.
Like even COVID, honestly, I know a lot of people suffered and, got depressed and my heart went out to them. For me, it was the greatest time ever. I'm like, oh my God, I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to see anybody. This is great.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
dogs, I love it. I just like not having to, um, do what others want. Like I can beat to my own drum. If I want to go sit, at a cafe for 2 hours and watch people go by, I can do that.
Yeah.
I also feel like being on my own. I don't know. I just like my own. I guess I like myself and I like being with myself. And what I do feel though is when you do travel alone, you're really never alone because there's always people to talk to. Like I went to China and I was never alone because
Mm.
there's people to talk to. There's, if you wanted to go like even to dinner, people would say, come sit, with us. And like, you're
True.
really never alone.
True.
If you have that energy, of course, if you're like this,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
so I really feel like you never are alone, even if you do travel solo.
Well, that's interesting. I like what you said. I like myself, so I like being with myself. And you know what? I like my alone time too. But I also I'm a very social person. So like even when I'm with people on vacation, I'm always talking to the next table. Like I'm always talking to people.
So if you went on your own, you'd probably do the same thing.
I know, but just the thought like, like even going to the movies by myself here locally, I don't think I could do it.
I do that all the time.
Oh,
Well, that's
true.
not true. I do if there's a movie I
You
want to
do,
see
yeah.
badly enough.
And nobody
Um,
wants to see it with you. You go.
I go. Yeah, I went to see Barbie on my own because I wanted to see it and my partner didn't want to see it. And I'm like, I'm going on my own. And I
You
got my
wanted to see
popcorn.
Barbie? Okay,
I just
that's a whole other fucking podcast, Cindy.
the only reason I wanted to see it is because what I'd heard from some friends and I did, and then it was funny because I was flying somewhere after and I just wanted to see if what they said was true.
What did
Um
they say about it?
I'm trying to remember what it was, but I remember exactly who it was too. Um I'll think of it about it. And then, funny enough, I was flying somewhere and it was on the airplane. I'm like, well, I could, but I do like, and I do like going to the movies on my own. And you could totally do it. It's, if you want it bad enough, like if there's a movie you really want to see. I'm not a big movie goer to begin with
Yeah.
because, I can see it at home. I don't have to leave
Yeah.
unless it's something you really want to see that won't come out for a while or is on a big screen. Big
Yeah.
screen.
There's certain ones I want to see on the big screen. Like I
Right.
love I hate the actor, but I love his movies. Tom Cruise, like any Mission Impossible or
Yes.
anything like I love those
Yes.
action movies.
Yes.
And I actually like Marvel, like the Avengers and stuff. And Transformers. I like them. I don't know. There's just I don't know why, but anyway, I do.
I
But
have a
those I
friend who
want to
loves
see on
those.
the big screen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could, I think a lot of us like why you don't think you could go on your own. Like what is stopping you? Is it, ask yourself why and then why is that and then why is that? And
I don't know. I just never thought I have to like I'm always with someone, so I've never had to do it alone. Like, if I had absolutely nobody to go with and I really wanted a vacation, but there's always people that like I'm going away next week with a friend of mine that we've been friends now since say 26, 27 years. And every year we go away. Um, and then my husband, we go away every year too. So it's just, I don't know. I'm just never alone.
do you ever go to like a coffee shop on your own?
Mm, no.
No.
Like I mean, I think I've done it once or twice. And that's okay for me. Like, especially if I want to go to work, like do some work or editing and stuff like
Right,
that.
right.
I get too distracted when like I need peace and quiet. So if I'm out and I'm trying to work, it'll like, kids screaming. Like I don't have kids, so when kids are screaming and the parents are just letting their fucking
Yeah.
kids run around like crazy, it just ruins everything. Like
Yeah.
even in a restaurant, like and I'm with people, I will get so distracted, like squirrel, ADHD, where this kid is screaming and the parents are just sitting there eating their dinner, enjoying their dinner, but fucking ruining mine.
That's so annoying. I know.
Like
And I
shitty
have
fucking
kids, they're
people.
grown, but we took them to a 2-star Michelin restaurant in Paris and Connor was maybe 7 and my daughter was maybe 10. or 6 and 9, 7 and 10, and people kind of rolled their eyes when they saw us come in, and then actually people came up to us afterwards and said, "Your children are so well behaved."
It
So
means a lot,
it's not the
Sandy.
kids, it's not, you feel it's not the kids' fault, it's the
No.
parents,
Well, it's
and
the kids
yeah.
controlling the fucking parents, and they just have zero
Yeah,
control over
don't
their
get me
shit.
started on that, because
Why? Let's
that's
go.
such a
Let's go, Sandy. Let's go.
that just pisses me off, this entitlement and these kids, and yeah, no.
So let's talk about that for a second. So so on the weekends I work in a market, right? One of my businesses is in a market where there's other vendors and stuff like that. And these parents come in. Um, if you ever feel bad about yourself, and you want to feel better about yourself, like walk into, it's like a Walmart setting kind of thing. Like just look at what people watch and you'll feel great about yourself. You'll feel like a fucking supermodel. Anyway, so I'm sitting there, or I'm actually trying to talk to customers, and this one family has their kid screaming, like, "Oh, look, hey, James, look over here, blah blah blah," and they're screaming at each other. And I'm like, "Can you guys keep it down?" Like I had to. I'm like, like we're trying to talk,
I've
and we
done that.
can't even. Like it's so fucking ridiculous.
It's for me, just because I have children, and again, it was that. I mean, my kids packed their own lunches at the age of 5, right? It's like that, very strict. My daughter came to me once, I think she was 6 in summer vacation, and said in German, she said, because I raised my kids bilingual, she says, "Mom, I'm bored." So I gave her one of those white erase sponge, and I had her clean baseboards in a 4,000 square foot home. She never told me she was bored again. It's like, but I feel like parents, they want to be their kid's friend.
Yep.
And Neve
Yeah.
said to me once, she said, "Mom, are you my friend?" And I'm like, "No."
Nope.
I said, "I'm your mom." And she says, "How come? My friend's friend, blah, blah, blah." I says, "Well, you only have one mom, but you can have lots of friends."
Yeah.
And she, and this is what I see the problem is, and they don't want to hurt their feelings.
Yeah.
What the fuck ever? Like, how do you go through this life? Like, we don't always get what we want. And I think parents raising their children are setting them up for failure. That's just my 2 cents worth.
Yeah, like I'm on the outside. Like I tried to have children, but it didn't work. I did everything from fertility, going into Nogales, Mexico for fucking treatment. I did everything to have kids, and it just didn't work out. But I see the mistakes that some of my friends have made, and the entitlement of these fucking kids. And I'm helping. So I have a cannabis company, and it's a CBD. So I'm helping so many kids that can't deal with reality
Mm,
because they've sheltered them so much that
yeah.
you send your kid off to college or university, and they come back all depressed with anxiety because they can't fucking deal with real work, and that's not even real life yet.
That's another thing, the whole anxiety thing.
Oh,
Anxiety is a real thing.
it
I
is a real
100%.
thing.
But everybody's got massive anxiety. Like, literally everybody's got. And I actually had a little bit of a disagreement, not argument, that's too strong of a word, but a discussion with a friend who's a very close friend. She's a great person, but about trauma and about anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And I know trauma is a thing, but I'm like, I don't know. Are you familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk?
Gary
Gary
V,
V?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much.
So, and I 100% agree with him. My mother went through the Second World War and heard the sirens come down. That's fucking trauma. If you don't get the dress that you want, or if your husband maybe was a narcissist, I'm not diminishing it, but God help me. There's trauma and there's trauma. And the same with anxiety. It's like, oh
It's the
my God.
victimhood mentality.
Oh, fuck, don't get me started.
Girl, what do you mean? We're on this podcast. We're gonna start shit. So I just hosted a panel for Women's Day for my local chamber of commerce. So, okay, here we go. Okay, so Sandy, I'm not a feminist. Okay, maybe what it initially stood for when it first started, yes. What it has become today, that is not what I'm all about. I hate that we're telling women that we're so held back and we're so this and we're so that, when my lived experience has nothing, like it's nothing what they say it is. So I'm hosting a fucking panel of these women, And they're like, statistics say, and I let them all speak. There was 4 ladies, and I'm like, okay. I said, well, I'm going to say, now this is a room full of 200 women, maybe 10 to 20 men in this hall. And I said, well, my lived experience isn't that. So one of my businesses, cannabis, is a male dominated industry that I never felt intimidated. Every man, I'm surrounded by men, my suppliers, customers, my growers, they're all men. They have done nothing but help me, educate me, make me money. They've been my mentors. And I said this to a whole fucking room of women, and I and then I said the only people that have torn me down is in my corporate world. I left to go on a project. It was one company, and then they were separating, and I wanted to get back into the original company, and I had to take a step down to go back in. I couldn't get my old job back. So I'm in this interview. The girl interviewing me is someone I fucking trained, and they said I wasn't qualified for my old job. So I said the only people that have held me down are other women.
What I would say to that is, I think in general, women are a lot more catty and there's a lot more jealousy. That's why I get along better with men.
That's why I get along better
And I
with
think
men.
like a man.
Yeah.
And what I do see, and I'm not a researcher, I'm not into statistics, but what I do see is that women may get paid less for similar jobs in certain instances. I don't know. That's the statistics. That's what I read.
Yeah, I'm sure the
That's one
statistics
thing.
say that, but
Right.
I'm like, are you as qualified as that guy? Can you do this? If you're qualified, you have the same credentials, you do the same work, the same quality of work, and you're getting paid less, yeah, 100%, that's fucking wrong.
What I do see though in Europe, we have more women in office, more women in politics than we do in America.
Yeah.
And that I think, and I can only speak for America where I think America's back ass because honestly, I do in that respect. Because in Germany, I mean, Merkel, like her or not, and all these women that you have in higher, political whatever. But as far as the corporate, I think women are cutthroat. I
Yeah.
think women are backstabbers. I
Yep.
think women and this whole movement lift each other up. And I do see that a little more. But in general, women, when it comes to it, they're more cutthroat and they, and I mean, let's face it, my ex-husband, he had an affair with his assistant. And, I'm sure it was to climb up the ladder,
Yeah.
and women will do, not saying men may not, but I know what you're saying. I 100% know
See,
what you're
so on
saying.
that note, like that chick is trying to get to the top, but then at some point, she's going to claim victimhood. So the people that
Mm,
actually, and that's another thing, these fake fucking calling, like I've been sexually assaulted, takes away from the actual women that have been sexually assaulted.
right.
It makes me mad because women often play this victimhood,
Yeah.
and we can go down the list and say all the fake fucking call outs for rape, right? And it pisses me off. And then the people that actually do get raped, there's no sympathy for them, right?
Yeah.
And they just
Right.
get lost in the shuffle.
Right.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
anyway,
Yeah.
whatever.
I
That's the
100.
shitty.
Yeah.
We're talking about
Yeah.
shitty things
Yeah.
today,
Yeah.
everybody.
No, it's true though. It's in general, and again, that's why I've always gotten along better with men. I just think they're just less catty, less backstabbing,
Yeah.
less
They're
whatever.
less
Yeah.
sensitive. Like I
Yeah.
remember I was the team lead. I had maybe 8 guys in my pod. Like it was called the pod.
Hmm.
And like I'd let them talk. We're talking about, like shows that we're watching, whatever. And I'm like, okay, guys, fuck, you can talk all you want. Just put your fingers on the keyboards and keep fucking working, right? If I said that to a girl, oh my God, she told me to shut up. Like, and I like, even when my employees, when I had retail stores and they'd start crying, I'd literally say to them, Sandy, go finish this. And when you're calm, come back and talk to me
It's like a child.
as an adult.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing
Yeah.
this. I
Yeah.
can't do crying.
No, I'm the same.
Yeah.
And people call me cold, which I'm really not. I'm very
Well, you are
empathetic.
German.
But we're not cold. We're
Yes.
just
Okay.
not.
Hold on. I went to Germany. Bullshit. Okay. I'm a Canadian. We're nice to everybody. Like, sorry,
Well, yeah,
sorry,
but
right?
that's cultural. Just so how the Germans perceive so they come to America and everybody's like, "How are you today? Have a nice day." And the bagger, and they're like, "What the fuck? You don't even know me." Like, whatever. That's just a cultural thing. Now, some will say
Yeah.
whatever, and others will say, "Oh my God, that's so nice." Even if they don't really care and it is superficial, it is friendly. So you have those two. And when
Yeah.
I came to America first, and I'm like, but I thought it was nice, like, yes, superficial. And
Yeah.
that's how a lot of I can't say Europeans, but Germans see Americans specifically as very superficial, living on the surface. And I think it's because they don't understand the culture as much, especially when you're in the South, where they
Yeah.
tell you bless your little heart and they're
Bless
basically
your
telling you
heart.
to
Yeah,
fuck
fuck
off.
off. I love it. I say that to people. Bless your heart. I like it. Because I lived in the States. I lived in Maine for 4 years,
Hmm.
and it was an experience. Coming from Toronto, going into bumfuck Maine. Um, oh fuck. So I never experienced racism like I did in the States.
Hmm.
I kicked out people out of my restaurants because they treated like I hired a one girl. We're doing interviews all day, and I said, "Okay, you're hired." And she starts crying, and I'm like, "Oh, I go, why are you fucking crying?" She goes, "Well, nobody will hire me." And I go, "Why?" And she goes, "Because I'm black." And I said, "Okay, I'm being fucking punked. Like, okay, where are the fucking cameras?" And this was 2007. And I said, "What did you like? Are you kidding me?" She goes, "Yeah, nobody will hire me because I'm black." And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I'm like, okay, well, you're fucking
Yeah.
hired here. I don't give a
Yeah.
shit that you're black. Cause I don't think we experience that in Canada like it is in the States. Well, my friends didn't anyway. And then we had two locations and I was at that one location the one day and this guy was giving her a fucking hard time. I literally took his money. I threw it in his face. I said, the coffee's on me. Take your fucking money. Never walk into my restaurant again.
Wow.
And I said, because no one is going to treat my staff like that. No one. And she's just staring at me like she couldn't believe it. She goes, nobody
Wow.
does that. And I said,
No.
well, I do. No one's going to do it.
So my partner, he's actually Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
And he used to tell, and I'm like, no, like racism. And he says, Sandy. And I saw it. He was called, and he's not even that dark. Oh yeah. And then I have a friend who I just met here, but we've become really good friends actually. She's Dominican.
Yeah.
And she literally backs up everything Jason says. So Jason said that he is darker than one of his brothers who was really like lighter skinned, and he was the favorite. And Kat told me the same thing about her sister. She says my
Mm.
sister's a lot. So it's like even within the family, the lighter ones are,
Yeah. Within their own
and
culture,
I'm like,
they're,
what? Like
yeah.
I cannot connect to that on any level
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Like the other location, it was in Waterville. Most of my staff were Puerto Rican and beautiful girls. Like they were all beautiful, all it was funny. We had a great time working together, but the guys loved them. Like, they loved coming into my restaurant. And, I said to everybody, it was like psychological thing. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Cause it was a coffee shop, right? We had,
Right,
you know what
right.
Tim Hortons is?
Yep, I
So we own
do.
two Tim Hortons in Maine.
Nice.
And I said, okay, like they would come to you, they'd come to these girls, come through drive through, and they'd be like, see you tomorrow. And they're like, oh, you betcha. Like it didn't happen often in Waterville, but in Skowhegan. But we did have a hate crime happen at Waterville. We made the paper.
Oh.
But this guy, he had like the swastikas tattooed all over his
Oh
arms. And
no.
this guy was a black guy with a white girl minding their own business, having dinner, having a sandwich. And he's like, go back to where you came from. Followed them, got into a scuffle. And then it was like, hate crime happened. Tim Hortons Waterville. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes. But
Wow.
I worked with the police, gave them all the video and stuff. Like, it's just, people are stupid.
It's
They're dumb.
like, yeah, racism is something, and I never really understood it as much because in Germany I just wasn't around it. But I came to America, and then literally until got into a relationship with a Puerto Rican, did
Mhm.
I really? And I'm like, I'm like, I thought it was a one-off, just some asshole, but it actually is sadly a thing.
In certain
And
areas, it is, I think, for sure. I think in other areas, it's not. But anyway, yeah,
yeah,
it's shitty.
it is
It's
shitty.
shitty. The
It is
world's
shitty.
gone to
It's really
shit.
shitty. Well, Europe too. I mean, there's so much racism in Europe, and yeah, it's
I think with
horrible.
Europe, it's different because they haven't been exposed to it. You know what I mean? Like their country, like I'm from Greece, right? So when you go to Greece, you don't see it. So when something new comes in, and I don't know if it's racism or fear, uh, because I, I don't know. Because when I go talk to my cousins, and I think when they watch the news and there's the fear is instilled in them and they just don't know, it's like uneducated.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Yeah, I think it might be more uneducated and fear than what actual racism is for like, hey, I think they don't hate them.
I can't say that. I mean, I can't speak for Greece, but for the UK, for Germany, for France, there's a lot of racism. It is racism. It's because of a lot of France, for example, with the Algerians and the Morocco, because they were territories, and then Germany now because they took so many people in
Migrant.
Syrians and
Yeah.
so but I think racism is something that exists in the entire world. I just never because I'm as white as they come. Like you
Yeah.
can't get whiter than me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I burn when I look at the sun. So it's
I
it's
turned brown.
oh, that's
Oh.
funny.
Well, girl, thank you so much for coming on. Where does everybody find you? If they're interested in the trip coming up in June, where do they find you? How do they contact you?
So you can find me pretty much anywhere on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Just Travel with Sandy or Sandy J. Colling for my Facebook profile. My website is justtravelwithsandy.com or Equestrian Journeys. Like you can find me anywhere. It's not hard
Awesome.
to find me. And
And I'll put that all in the details too.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you for having me on. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I know I'm grateful for you. Thank you so much, guys. If you like hearing and watching, please like, subscribe, follow us on YouTube or on Apple.